everybody. It's Anna. Welcome to the strawberry moon happening right now, the full moon. Let me know if you're here. And of course, we're going to pull a tarot spread to help guide us and inspire us for the strawberry moon. Hi, Patty Elaine. So I was thinking about strawberries, the strawberry moon. I think I heard somewhere that, at least in the northern hemisphere, North America. Hi, Annie. That the moon's going to be very low, like in the horizon. Like it's going to look very big, and it may like kind of look goldenish. So anyway, the moon might be really a sight tonight. So that'll be fun to check out. Hi, Julie. So the strawberry moon. I was thinking about strawberries. I have, fresh strawberries in my refrigerator right now. And I was thinking about the juiciness of strawberries and how with the full moon, the idea is we're full and juicy right now. We had the time from the new moon to the full moon to sort of let our resources build. And now we are full of resource, full of energy. And now we want to know what to do with that energy. And so we're going to pull a 3-card spread that are all action steps. What's something I can do? How can I invest my juiciness during the time of the strawberry moon? Hi, Ducky and JR. Nice to see you guys here. So I was thinking about that this morning when I woke up. I thought, investment. And it's very easy. And I think I kind of default to assuming investment is doing something in the outer world. I mean to say like the marketplace. So doing something in the public sphere. But then I remembered, of course, that investment's just investment. You're using energy to do something that is meaningful and needful. And needful to me is, I love the word needful because I feel like, we want to decide there are lots of good things to do, but there's really only one needful thing to do, which means at this moment, there's only one real flow of energy that the universe is supporting, that my intuition's responding to, and figuring out what the needful thing is important, especially for someone like me my mind always has a to-do list, at least, 50 pages long. So, it's easy to get caught. It's called, is it called analysis paralysis. I've heard that phrase where you've got so much to do and you get paralyzed by it. So we don't want to get caught in analysis paralysis. That's right. And so to do that, we say, well, what's the needful thing? Lots of good things to do. What's the needful thing? And sometimes the needful thing is investing in yourself. So I have not looked at the cards. I've already shuffled my cards, but I have a feeling that there may be some like doing things in the world, but I feel like at least there's going to be 1 or 2 cards that's about building up your own resources. Because one of the things I've talked about the Emperor card. The Emperor in the major arcana is good father energy, right? And part of the good father energy is providing space, providing, protection and resource, and kind of creating your private space. So when we invest, we could be investing with the Hierophant or the Emperor. The Hierophant is the public space where you're in, because the Hierophant's the Pope energy, right? And he's sitting in front of the church, and the church in the medieval times represented the public sphere. And so he's helping you come into the public sphere, helping you bring your gifts to the world. Then you've got the Emperor, these 2 guys, they're both guys sitting there, and the Emperor creates your private sphere. It's a place where you invest in yourself. And so I love the Hierophant and Emperor as working together. You work in the marketplace, you come back and work in your home. So you invest both. So I feel like just because we're in strawberry moon, we're in a full moon, and the idea is we've got energy to expend, we may not be expending it in the public sphere. We may be expending it in the private sphere. So we want to keep that in mind. So, and hi, everybody. Miss Yadav and Jazz B from the UK. Cool. And CR7, Addict, Elise, Wex Wuther. They're all of you guys. Oh, from India. Miss Yadav's from India. Paralysis by analysis. Yeah. And FB. Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm glad you're all here. So I've got my cards ready. And if you have your deck ready and you want to pull a spread, you can do that, or you can use my cards either way. But I'm going to pull 3 cards, all not just action, but all action steps. It'll be fun to see if they build off each other. Sometimes I pull action steps like a first action, second action, third action. Do I want to do that this time? I think we'll just leave them open action steps. So they, instead of giving them chronology, we'll just see how they interact together. I wonder if they'll interact together kind of as a group. We'll see. So anyway, first card for an action step is Eight of Cups. Okay, so that matches what I was saying earlier, because the 8 is about flow and power. Cups are about the intuition and the heart and about feeling connected and emotionally fulfilled. It's also called the spiritual seeking card. Actually, the card looks like that, right? This guy is leaving behind his treasures, like these cups here, going into the darkened wilderness. And so he's walking in the dark, but it's an 8 card. So he's not walking timidly or carefully. He's walking with confidence, because even though his human eyes cannot see, his heart knows where it's going. So this would tell me that one way we can invest our energy is by listening to the heart and kind of letting it lead us into the places of mystery. We're following a calling. Like, the reason he goes into the wilderness, he hears something calling him. There's a treasure calling him, and he is willing to kind of put it all on the line and go there because he trusts himself. So that may be something to consider. Where are we feeling led to step into mastery, and where our mind is ready to follow in faith, even though the mind can't see, the intuition knows where it's going. So that's one thing. If there is a kind of a restlessness, or sort of maybe it's restlessness, but it could also be like a hopefulness or a longing for something. That would be the 8 of Cups. This kind of connects to those feelings of something's calling me, right? So that'd be one action step to look at. Second action step, 8 of Wands reversed, another 8. Okay, we're all about flow and momentum right about now. Wands are connected to passion and energy and feeling invigorated and inspired. And the 8's about flow. And literally you can see that the wands are flowing through the air. They're unstoppable. It's actually, they've already been launched. So the idea behind this card is you've already been launched. You're already in the air. Like, let your momentum carry you. Let it flow forward. And I'd say the reversal might be, let me think about that. Let me come back to that, because I feel like there's 2 8s, one's upright, one's reversed. I'm going to come back to 8 of Wands. I'm going to see the third card. Star reversed. All right. Okay. So Star is the card in the major arcana that follows Tower. And Tower is when old structures fall apart. It can feel very disorienting because they're probably structures that we're familiar with. They fall apart, but they fall apart in my reading because we're too big for them now. They used to be supportive. They're now restrictive, and they fall away to make room for Star. So Star shows a naked woman. So she's naked, which means she's in her own skin. She's feeling confident in the world. She's pouring water in the pool and on the ground, which is about rejuvenation. And there are 7 stars in the sky, which connect to the 7 energy centers, or the chakra centers. So she's like all of her energy centers are being brought in alignment. She's being cleared out from the old trauma and from the old way of being, but also she is now able, from this place of rejuvenation, she's able to see the expansion and experience the expansion that caused the tower to fall. So I like this card. It looks like it's a passive card. You know, we have kind of action cards and rest cards. Star might look restful. It does look restful, but it's not a resting card. It is an action card, because from this place, we are now letting ourselves be cleared out, because we are moving into the expanded path that just opened up for us. The reversal, to me, I think in this case, is about recognizing you've already been through Star. So like, let's say from the new moon to this, we've been in Star. So we've been kind of resting, rejuvenating, feeling our expansion. We're done now. We can feel our expansion. We're ready to move. We're ready to go into the next place, which actually in the major arcana is Moon. So we can talk more about that if you want, but Moon. So we're moving from Star to Moon. We're now kind of excavating the parts of ourselves. We're freeing up the parts of ourselves that are ready to take flight. Now let's go back to 8 of Wands reversed. Something's already in flight. I'd say the reversal is there's already flow. There's already momentum. Like, kind of give into it. Give into your passion. Give into your intuitive leading. So I think all of these cards actually work together as maybe one action step. Agree to your growth. You've already expanded. You've already grown. Move forward into Moon. Go into the excavation of your energy. Pull it to the surface. Bring it up. Actually, go searching. Go searching for your the parts of yourselves that are buried, because that's what Moon is about. It's about excavating parts of ourselves that are buried. Go looking for those parts of yourselves. Let your passion lead. There you go. I summed it up in one nice little story, didn't I? Okay, those are mine. Oops. I hit I was going to end the stream. I didn't do it though. Okay. Let's see. I'm backing up because some of you guys wrote in. Okay. 3 action steps. Yes. JR, King of Swords, Knight of Swords, Hierophant reversed, Wheel of Fortune. Let's go one at a time because if I do them all at once, I'll get lost. Knight of Swords is about taking action. It's the mind. It's the knight's like really confident, really focused, can sometimes be a bit tunnel visioned, but the idea of like, you know where you're going, just start going, like trust yourself, move forward. So there is like a logical set of action steps. This might say you kind of know what your action steps are. They're kind of laid out for you, and like letting your mind focus, letting your mind go forward, helping it feel supported and confident. The Knight of Swords in the Rider-Waite is a very confident energy, right? He's tearing off across the field. So he knows where he's going. So like trust that you know what your action steps are. Let your mind feel free and supported in moving forward. That's lots of action steps. Second action, Hierophant reversed. So the Hierophant, as I said before, is the energy that brings us into the marketplace. It sort of sets us free to bring our gifts to others. The reversal, I would say in this case, is like not putting a lot of attention on what others are expecting or what you think you're supposed to be bringing into the world. And the reason I say that is because the Knight of Swords is very focused, very directed, right? He knows where he's going. When he starts worrying about what other people think, or, it's like he starts compromising his action steps when he thinks he's making a mistake, or he should get advice, or he should follow other people's agenda. So sort of like letting go of how this is going to work itself out in the marketplace. How is it going to affect the world? How is it going to be your impact? Like kind of letting go of that piece. That's not the piece that we need to worry about. Instead, like trusting your action steps that are in front of you. Third action step, Wheel of Fortune reversed. So Wheel of Fortune, I think, is very much a mind card. It's a lesson for the mind. All the major arcana cards are life lessons. Wheel of Fortune is about non-attachment. It's about being okay or learning how to make peace and feel confident with whatever comes your way, because the universe is constantly in motion, right? Sometimes it brings things you like, sometimes it brings things you don't like, but trying to not be too attached to what's happening, kind of understanding that whatever happens, your soul, which is your divine navigator, knows how to make good of things. Like even if a challenge happens, something you don't like happens, if you can relax and not be resistant, which is non-attachment, then you're able to kind of navigate through this and figure out things to grow your skills, to grow your faith, to have unexpected blessings, and like trusting that. So it's okay. So not needing things to follow the way you expect them to, and trusting that when things don't go the way you want, still it is good. So I would say, again, that supports the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is doing his job. He's not responsible for how it looks in the marketplace. He's not responsible for how it ends up working out. He's following orders. He's following his instructions. He's living out. He's the actor in the world on behalf of intuition. That's what he's doing, giving him support and kind of freeing him up from the responsibility of what might happen next, because that's part of the mystery we want to be open to. That's how I'd read that. All right. Ducky162. Ace of Cups. So Ace of Cups, I think, is the cup facing heaven, and the cups are about the heart, the intuition, and also about feeling connected to others. So the Ace of Cups, Ace is the beginning point in the major arcana. So it's starting something new. I often think of the Ace of Cups as opening up to kind of expanding our ability to receive unconditional love, because the cup is sitting there, it's facing heaven. There's a little dove coming down from the sky with the communion wafer in its mouth. So that's the incarnation of spirit. So spirit becoming flesh, and the cup's ready to receive it, right? So it's like we are willing to be incarnated, spirit incarnated into flesh. We're willing to see our own blessedness. So it's about like expanding your horizons or your capacity for unconditional love. So that's definitely an action step, because it's hard to do that. Unconditional love is very difficult to agree to. The mind struggles with it. So it seems like it'd be a good thing. It is something you have to discipline yourself, discipline your mind to get okay with. It is uncomfortable. But again, discomfort does not equal danger. That's important for the mind to learn too. Discomfort is a result of growth. It's not the same thing as pain. So helping your mind go, yes, it's a bit uncomfortable. This expansion is uncomfortable, but it's good. It's good to be more open to love. It's good to be, to agree to being loved. Okay. Knight of Wands. So the Knight, again, action taker, big, and Wands is about passion and fire and, feeling inspired. So it's about moving in the world according to your passion. And I think that those two go together. The Ace of Cups is about being loved. The Knight of Wands is about moving, taking action in your passion. Like we are freer to take action in the world and to let our passion show and our inspiration show when we feel safe and loved. So it could very well be that you've got an inspiration, you've got this vision. You're a little nervous to take action on it because you don't feel safe, which is fair. That's how the mind often works. But if you kind of challenge yourself to recognize you are loved and you're safe, and get your mind to sort of wrap itself around that possibility, the Knight is freer to move into the world. And Ace of Pentacles. So again, another starting point. So maybe the Ace. So there is something physically in the world. Starting something new. Maybe a new venture, a new skill, a new job. So somehow all this might connect to sort of having a new adventure or a new place of exposure. So receiving more love, starting something new, letting the Knight take action to make that happen. All right. Let's see. Annie says, oh wait. Oh, and she's already resonate with the collective pull. Eight of Cups keeps coming up. Well, okay. Eight of Cups is going to be our shared experience. Okay. King of Cups. That's your first action. King is the master energy, right? So he's the one that knows how to navigate his energy, whatever that is. And Cups is about intuition and connection and love and feelings, right? And in the Rider-Waite, the King of Cups is sitting on the island and there's a rocky sea, but he stays stable. And that shows us that this king knows how to master, is not afraid of emotional turmoil or struggle or pain or all that stuff, because he knows how to find stability and love and offer us stability and love inside of that. So there is something about, as an action step, sort of like leaning into your mastery here, which also is about showing the mind, because the intuition and the mind are not the same energy, right? I talk about it all the time. And the mind tends to think emotions are dangerous and scary and like overwhelming. Like the sea is boiling and oh my gosh, we're going to drown, right? But the king is like, we're safe. We know how. The intuition knows how to process that kind of energy, knows how to understand it and to lead it and to follow it and to either let it release or to inspire. And the king knows how to do that. So even though the mind doesn't quite know where this energy is coming from, is scary, it can feel okay because the king is here and the king knows what to do. So kind of helping the mind become more confident. And actually, that's Eight of Cups too, right? Feeling confident, feeling in flow, like the mind learning there is something at work here. There is some mystery at work here that is beyond a logical understanding, but it's trustworthy and it's real. And the mind getting more comfortable with that truth. Two of Wands. Oh, Two of Wands. So the two is the number for rooting in and inspirations. This is a quieter card. Actually, the king is kind of a quieter card too, to be honest. I mean, he can deal with turmoil, but he's very stable. The two is about deepening your roots, right? Deepening your roots, in this case, in your passion, because the wands are about feeling inspired, right? But there's no movement right there, right? So the image of the Two of Wands is the guy in the Rider-Waite. Is the guy at home. He's looking out across the horizon. He's got a globe in one hand and he's thinking, he's dreaming about where he's going to go. So he's letting his passion sort of grow and build. He's getting a sense of the flavor of his passion. He's getting used to it, accustomed to it, helping it root in, because he's going to, when it's time, when that passion grows big enough, then you move to the three, which is momentum, right? So it is about like minding that this time of being still is still a deep investment. And it's about like settling into your own roots. That's also very strong king energy. So those two feel like they go together really well. And the Seven of Swords. Wow. Okay, let me think of the Seven of Swords. It's the guy picking swords, right? It's the guy and the Rider-Waite's the guy in the military encampment that's sneaking around stealing swords. The number 7 is connected to making choices and discernment, making wise choices. Swords are about the mind. And the guy in the Rider-Waite card is like sneaking around, like pulling swords, right? So I see that card as about the mind choosing wisely what swords he wants, right? What mindsets, what beliefs, what strategies he wants. And that the wisdom comes from the mind understanding what we're trying to accomplish. So it's interesting. You have the King of Cups and right, the King of Cups, Two of Wands. Those are both about sort of finding stability. If the mind is going to agree to that and partner with that, it has to like let go of mindsets that are comparing you to other people. Where should we be going? What's the right thing, the successful thing? Like, what do people think about us? All of those mindsets that would disrupt this sort of rooting in process or the mastery process. The mind needs to learn those don't match us. Those are other people's systems and theories, they don't work here, right? So it's the mind kind of understanding its role is to facilitate the work of the intuition. It's going to pick the right tools for that. Now, that would actually be interesting because that probably is like an activity of the mind where it's kind of looking through like, what are the voices in my head that are fighting, that are arguing, they're talking negatively, and why are they talking negatively? There's a reason why we have these voices in our heads, and it's we want the mind to be aware of it because the mind can only be discerning when it is conscious. So actually, that may be where this ends up. The work, because these other two are kind of like embodying like a deepening of spirit, which is work. But the more active work is maybe the mind being aware of the mindsets and making choices around which ones need to go. So yeah, that would be a way of looking at that. Let's see. Okay, Wex Wuther. 5 of Swords. So 5 is the challenge point. Swords are about the mind. In the image in the Rider-Waite, there's the guy on the seashore who's like smirking, and he's got swords in front of his feet. Like he's been in several duels and he's won several duels. He's quite proud of himself. And like he's been in conflicts. He's like, yeah, I'm the biggest, baddest swordsman on the beach, right? But the sky is very cloudy. So we understand this victory is not particularly good. It's not particularly flowering or helpful, right? And there's 2 people walking away. So I always think in the challenge, the 2 people walking away represent meeting the challenge or conquering the challenge, because this guy wants you. He's challenging you to like show him that you're better. It's competition. It's showing it's kind of getting in a duel. And like the dueling of minds, like who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad, that kind of, all those are just sort of the mind beating out, challenging other people. And the reason we challenge other people, the mind's challenging people, is because they're feeling insecure. Like they don't feel confident in their position. But if they can beat you up and be stronger than you, then they'll feel more confident. So this is the challenge is insecurity in the mind. And the 2 people leaving are the secure ones. They're like, we don't have to fight. In fact, I think they even set down their swords. Fine, take my sword. I don't need that sword. I don't need this fight. This is not servicing me. This is not serving my higher calling. It's just going to use up a lot of energy and also kind of solidify or give momentum to insecurity. So the 5 of Cups can be about like helping the mind know how to back off. Helping the mind feel secure enough to walk away. Oh, that reminds me of there's a movie that came out. Oh, it was so long ago, and it's probably nobody. It's not even one you even hear about anymore. But it was a movie with Tim Allen called Joe Somebody. But it was the story about this guy being bullied, and like he spends the whole movie. It's a comedy, right? But he spends the whole movie like learning how to do karate so he can take this guy on, so he can challenge him, right? And then in the end, they're going to have a fight, right? And the other guy is looking tough, but he's shaky. He's nervous, right? Because he's a bully, and bullies are insecure at their heart, right? And Joe realizes it, and he just walks away. He's like, I don't need to fight anymore. Like he felt like he was prepared if he needed to, but he doesn't need to. So there's this idea of feeling like, yeah, I've already proven myself to myself. So that's the 5 of Swords challenges. I don't have to prove myself to you. I've proven myself to myself. So that's the challenge of the mind, learning how to find that security, feeling secure enough to not engage in fruitless conflict. So that may be what comes up with you as a challenge. Death reverse. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go again. Death is about, it's the skeleton guy that knocks off the old authority figure, right? And so there's a kind of a king guy on the ground. His crown's fallen off. So he's been dethroned. He's been kicked out of authority. And the death card is about removing old systems getting rid of old rulers, old oppressors that don't match you, old oppressors that come from somewhere else, right? So you get rid of them, you remove them, so you become your own authority. And the reversal of that, I think, is like agreeing that you're there, like agreeing that I am the authority. That matches perfectly with 5 of Swords, right? Because if I'm the authority, I don't have to argue. My position is not up for argument. I don't have to defend it or explain it. I can live confidently in that. So to me, those match really well. And then the last one was 8 of Swords reversed. Oh my gosh, they're all perfect because 8 is about flow and power, and Swords is the mind. And that's the lady who in the Rider-Waite is wrapped up in a bond, like she's bound up and she's in a cage of swords. She's blindfolded. So she looks like she's disempowered, but the truth is it's an 8 card. So we know it's about power. It's not about disempowerment. And the truth is if she just wiggles a little, the bonds will fall away. She can take off her her blindfold and she can just walk out of the cage, right? And behind her is this castle that represents like her home. This is where she's not far from home, really. So the Eight of Swords is about the mind realizing that the only trap it's in is the one it's made for itself. It's agreed to. And once it realizes that, it can disengage the trap, right? It can shimmy out of that trap. The reversal again is the mind agreeing to mastery. So all of these are about the mind getting good at recognizing the trips, the old trips, the old kind of being conscious of it and feeling secure that it's getting more masterful at this. So those all match really well to each other. Hi, Nandy. Say, could Eight of Wands reverse denote to stay hush on something? I wouldn't see it that way. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, I always read the cards in relationship to each other and in relationship to whatever question I asked, right? So if I read it as, I can't even think of how I'd read it, what question I would ask to get that. So I wouldn't see it that way. But it would depend. Like the Eight of Wands showed up for me. I'm asking what action step I take. Eight of Wands reversed, what action step I take. So being hushed or hushing does not in my mind connect to an action step. So I guess it would matter. Now it depends on how it feels to you. If there's something specific on your mind that you have a question about, and this card shows up and you go, oh, that feels like this, I would say you're reading your own cards. The cards are talking to you in a language that you understand, right? Because they're not talking to, if you're playing the cards, they're not talking to me, they're talking to you. And I think that's really important to kind of own that. Like I think it's good to share it with other people if it helps you, like, because that can help the mind sort out where it's trying to come from. I would say being hushed is, to me, the reason the cards wouldn't communicate that to me is you could tell being hushed up is not something I'm good at. So it would be very rare, I think, that my intuition would ever tell me to hush up, because my intuition likes to talk. So, I mean, so it probably wouldn't be that to me, and I would probably never, it wouldn't come up for me for a client either, probably, because that's not how I'd read it. But specifically in your situation, I would say you check with your own wisdom, and that would be your own intuition. There may be a reason for this. What's the reason for this? And kind of let the conversation happen internally. Let's see. Okay, Patty. Ace of Cups. We got another Ace of Cups. Expanding, unconditional love, opening for more, getting better at receiving love. That's one. Ace of Wands, opening to more passion, getting excited about a new vision. So these are coming together, these two beginnings, and they match, right? Because the more love you receive, the more passion you can feel, because you're freed up to kind of be more engaged and more excited about an inspiration you have. And King of Cups. Oh my gosh, we've already done all of these guys. The King of Cups is just about, bring on the big energy, bring on the big emotions, because I'm the king. I know how to flow through them, release them, love them, give them what they need. Either let them flow through or let them kind of crystallize into guidance. And so like the king, so really Ace of Cups and Ace of Wands are both, I think, you're really increasing in vulnerability. As you let yourself be loved more, you're opening to more vulnerability. As you let yourself be in passion, you're becoming more visible, right? So those are two challenges that the mind has. Like, well, what happens when you're more vulnerable and more visible? Bad things can happen, right? But the King of Cups is like, no problem. I can handle anything that comes my way. Even if someone hurts me, like I get hurt, I get betrayed or disappointed. This king knows how to not only navigate that, but bring it into wisdom and love. So there's no danger. So go ahead and start the new things, right? So Anna Klein, Wheel of Fortune. So we talked about that already. The Wheel of Fortune being about being like agreeing to what is happening, right? Not being resistant to what is happening, agreeing that maybe things happen the way I want. Maybe they don't happen the way that I want. Maybe things happen that I really hate, I dislike completely. They're against my preferences. Whatever comes, though, I'm going to agree to it, because I know there is always magic available in me to navigate that. And even the things I don't want to experience or don't choose to experience still open up these other possibilities. And I mean, really, it's not hard for many of us to look back in our lives and see things that happened that were not what we wanted, not what we planned. depending on how you tell the story. See, this is the challenge, right? Because when that happens, our mind tends to tell a story of, oh, I screwed up. I deserve that. That person betrayed me. It tells a story of resistance, which is that should not have happened that way. It happened that way because something went wrong. I did something wrong. You did something wrong. The universe did something wrong, right? That's how the mind tends to tell stories, because the mind has a natural tendency towards resistance, because resistance is connected to survival, right? So a mind that's in survival mode is creating nice, clean, quick stories, right? If you're training your mind out of survival mode, which is what happens with the Wheel of Fortune, we are now shifting out of survival mode into this sort of deeper resonance in the spiritual journey. The mind has to be lighter on its feet, right? So if your mind's getting lighter on its feet, it will go back and tell those stories differently. It'll say, yeah, that relationship ended, but when it did, I moved to this other place, and that's where I found this. And so now the mind's saying, ooh, this journey, I've been able to navigate everything that happens in this journey. I just pivot, I learn, I expand, I grow. This is all good. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. It's not what I would have chosen, maybe, but that's okay, because I know how to navigate even in the surprising things. So that may be something your mind's working on, is learning how to lighten its load, learning how to be lighter on its feet, to maybe tell stories in a different way. That's good for the mind. It's a creative challenge for the mind to say, how is this serving me? How can this become a source of blessing? And how has that happened in the past? Maybe even going back and looking at old stories that your mind's like, yeah, I screwed up there. Like really come into your life. I do this with my clients a lot, as though you've made no mistakes. The only reason you think you've made mistakes is the mind thinks there's something should have gone a different way and it didn't. So therefore you messed up. What if you didn't mess up ever? You've never messed up. Asking your mind to tell that story, that's fun. It's hard, but it's fun. Knight of Swords again. Oh my goodness. So now we've got the Knight of Swords again. The knight is action, and swords, the action taker, swords are the mind. So we're asking the mind to really focus in, to do what it's been told to do, to be very committed, right? And to not argue, to not get distracted. And the Knight of Swords, if it knows its mission, it will do what you ask it to do. So if we look, for example, at my example of the Wheel of Fortune, like we're asking the mind to agree. There are no mistakes. Let's just say that's the mission. You're going to rewrite my stories, acknowledging that I'm always the hero. I don't make mistakes. And then it's like, got it. I'm going to rewrite the stories that way. I mean, that may be one way of looking at it, where the mind is becoming, the mind and the knight are loyal to their God, to the king, right? To the master. And the master energy is you knowing, understanding what you're doing and equipping yourself properly to make that happen. And then Two of Swords. Oh, that's perfect, right? Because the two is about germination, rooting in, and in the Rider-Waite, the Two of Swords is the woman sitting at the seashore, blindfolded with her swords crossed, right? And it reminds me a little of the Five of Swords, because they're both at the seashore, right? And in the Rider-Waite, or in the tarot, the sea, well, the Rider-Waite, I guess, the sea is connected to intuition. So you'll notice if you look at all of the swords cards, there's a lot of water showing up in different places. It happens a lot because the mind has to be reminded that it's not by itself. It doesn't have to solve everything from a logical, linear place. It's got this magical wild child energy, this fool energy, and the intuition that's able to help, able to offer guidance and support, right? And the Two of Swords, the woman is literally blindfolded. Like she's stuck. She doesn't know what her mind can't make a choice, right? Because it can't see beyond this moment in time, which is true. The mind can't predict the future. Again, back to Wheel of Fortune, you have no way of knowing what's going to happen next. And if the mind thinks it's supposed to know, now it's paralyzed. Now it's blind, because it's like, yeah, I make this choice. Maybe I go to Aruba for my vacation. There's a hurricane. If I go to Switzerland, there's an avalanche. Like, yeah, you don't know these things, right? So the mind is now stuck in that analysis paralysis, right? Where it's like, I can't analyze the solution. So it's stuck, right? This is the rooting in of the mind, and it's rooting into its relationship to the intuition. That's the opportunity of Two of Swords, because there's that ocean behind the lady, and it already has an instinct for where it needs to go. So the mind learning that, yes, it doesn't have to see though, because the intuition knows where it's going. And the mind just has to learn how to trust that the intuition there's a genius to the intuition. It knows where it's going. And also, Even if things happen we don't expect, which by the way, they absolutely will. They absolutely will. We'll be able to navigate, just like Wheel of Fortune, right? Even when things happen we did not want, we still know how to, we still figure out how to navigate it and end up coming out into a new place of expansion and growth. So those are all really fun together. Yeah. Let me see. There's anything else. Oh, yeah, there's a lot more. Oh, good. I'm glad. So, Annie, you said it's resonating. Good. Oh, hi. Oh, Ribcay with the strawberries and the moon. Okay. Jazz Bee. Knight of Cup. Now we got another action. The knight is the action taker. This is the cup, right? So this is about the heart and emotions and letting the intuition lead. And I think of the Knight of Cups, you've probably heard me say, is the lover knight. He's like, oh, he's on that horse, but he's kind of gently walking into the world. He's got his cup. He's got his heart open. He's like expressing his joy and his love. He's just in love with the world. He's in love with the world. He's in love with love. He sees beauty. He evokes beauty because his heart is unfettered. So the Knight of Cups is an action step. It's like, let your heart do what it wants to do. Like remove the barriers, get rid of the things that are in the way and let your heart express itself. So be in love and be love. So you may feel like there's something that's been trying to surface in you. Go ahead and let it go. Let it surface. Let it get into the world. Let's see what else comes up. 8 of Cups. So again, there's that spiritual seeking card. So it's like, these are working together, right? Because the 8 of Cups is like, I'm seeking something. I can feel it calling me. Yeah, it's dark in the Knight of Cups. The 8 of Cups, it's dark. So the mind can't see where it's going, but the heart knows where it's going. And it's just like letting the heart lead. It knows what it's doing. It knows what it wants to do. Don't just get out of the way. Let the mind, we want the mind to be on board, want it to be around, but we want it to follow along. It doesn't know where you're going. It needs to let the intuition lead. So you got the Knight of Cups, which is like, yes, just let my heart express itself in the world. The 8 of Cups, which is like, I know where I'm going. And then the Emperor. Oh goodness, the Emperor. That's interesting. The Emperor is that good father energy. That's about creating the right structures you need. So what do you need to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel loved and provided for? So what I would say is, since there's this sort of expansion of the intuitions and guide is in the lead, right? How do you take care of the mind? It can be very nerve-wracking for the mind when we're in the world. We're kind of, I always say we're naked and unarmed, right? And the mind's like, oh no, we're naked and unarmed. So how do you help the mind feel safe? Like, you talk to the mind, you give it support, you let it express its concerns. Like, what is the relationship in the mind where the mind feels like it does have a home base? It has a place where where it's protected, where it can hide. Because we do need the private and the public. We need both spheres. So we need to invest in both of them. That's what I started off by saying. Like, so where is your private sphere where you can sit back, have a cup of tea, listen to music, like have a bath, the places where you feel like you feel safe and have a foundation of care so that you're safe to go into the world. You're prepared to go into the world and be bold, and uncensored. So yeah. FB. Oh yeah. Oh, this ring. I know. Isn't it cool? There's a lady, an artisan in my local town, and she made it. And I'm like, yes, I need more bling. I need that bling in my life. So Ducky, thank you. And Annie, thank you. You're so welcome. Wex, you are number 1. Thanks. Okay, so JR says, is it okay to pull a card and get a message that it doesn't necessarily match with how other people read? Yeah. How other people read the card. Yeah. No one reads the cards the way I do, if you'll notice. like, in fact, of course I delete arguments off of my YouTube channel because I don't have any interest in them. But like, people have told me outright, that is not how you read that card. And I'm like, not how you read the card, right? I mean, they're my cards. It's my language, right? My intuition is interpreted. My mind and intuition are working together. This is the language my mind has worked out, right? So like, and I'm doing it because I have a particular work I'm doing in the world, right? So my language matches my purpose, my agenda. The cards are not where the magic is. The magic's in me. And the same is true about you. The magic's in you. So whatever you're getting, that's the magic. The cards are basically irrelevant. when you get right down to it. They're just paper with a little ink on them, right? How they benefit us, they're tools, right? And if the tool resonates with you, it speaks to you on a certain vibrational level. So absolutely, you should read the cards the way you read them. That's why I won't read other people's. Well, I'm reading yours now. I just said I won't read other people's spreads, but I am doing that now. But I'm reading them kind of the way I would read them. But like, if I read them away, and if you say this resonates with me, then I'm like, yeah, we happen to be like, we're partnering right now, right? But typically, I don't read other people's spreads because I have no idea what those cards mean to you. I would rather you read your own cards, right? Because that's how it works. So if I read your cards and they're wrong, you just say, well, that doesn't match, right? So my guess is, not my guess, my belief is that when people come to me, we have like our souls have a contract together. And so right now I'm functioning inside of a contract our souls have, right? So I'm just trusting that I'm going to say what comes up, it'll work. I'm just going to assume it's going to work, right? If it doesn't work, it's no big deal. I'll just say, well, it doesn't work. That's cool. There's no stakes in it. I don't have to prove myself, right? So that's the challenge here, right? Other people will read a card a different way. There's no right or wrong. They're just reading it differently because their language is different than yours. So yes, getting more confident in your own language, that is 8 of Cups right there, right? That's like you're walking into the wilderness. No one knows where you're going. You're not sure where you're going, but you know how to get there. So you trust that. So absolutely trust your own readings. And if you want to, I think it's good if you want to talk to somebody else who kind of resonates with your vibe. That's fun too, because that is fun when you read a card and someone goes, yeah, that matches me too. Because now we're finding sort of a momentum of vibration. But if someone doesn't match with you, so you give that energy, right? If you read a card and someone goes, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I see it, or that matches me, or that excites me, like lean into that. Those are your people. If you're hitting people who are like, oh my gosh, that's so wrong, avoid those people. Those aren't your people. That's why I delete people on YouTube who want to argue with me. Like, you're not my people. Why are you even on my channel? Why are you arguing with me? Go away. That's a 5 of Swords. Just go away. Go fight with somebody else, So, and I think we tend to do the opposite. We tend to over focus on people who are not like us and under focus on people who are like us, because the mind, that's a survival technique of the mind, right? But unless you're trying to survive, if you're trying to be expansive and creative, you're going to have to do the other thing. Vibe with the people you vibe with and let go of the people who don't vibe with you. So that's my feeling. Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh, here's another one. FB. Page of Cups. So there's that young energy. So we got some more right here. Page of Cups, who's that young energy in the court cards. He's the student, the youngster who's like, yeah, I want to learn stuff. And Cups is about the heart. And the image has the page like holding the cup. And there's a little fish popping out. And he's listening like to the fish, right? So it's the page who's like listening to the weird message from the weird place, trusting the heart. So interested in the mysterious messages of the intuition. So that would tell me like leaning into that young energy. Let yourself be surprised. Let yourself be challenged and see things in a different way, as opposed to like, oh, things are always this way. Like I'm listening for like the secret messages. So you're watching for you're not only listening, you're looking for the secret messages of the intuition, how it's breaking into your world from a little fish's mouth. That may be an action step connected to that. 3 of Cups. Oh my goodness. Cups, and 9 of Wands. Okay. 3 of Cups is the women dancing in a circle in the Rider-Waite. They each have a cup and they're dancing. 3 is about momentum, getting bigger and stronger. And this image is to me about celebration, letting your momentum of your heart grow, because other people are seeing your heart. They're celebrating your heart. They're like, yes, go girl. We love this. Go further. So I think the Page of Cups is like hearing the voice, and the 3 of Cups is hearing the voice of others who get you, who love you. I was just saying this about leaning into those who resonate with you. The heart needs that. That's where your vibration comes up. 3 is about you're kind of getting ready to move into the world, but you don't do that solo. You do that with the support and love of other people. So giving yourself a chance to associate with those folks. And 9 of Wands reversed. Okay, so Wands are about passion, fire, inspiration. The 9 is the penultimate step just before you cross the finish line, right? Now, in the Wands trajectory, there's this challenge that shows up about halfway through where people are getting really tired. You're seeing like people, they're standing their ground. And the 9 is the guy who's got a bandaged head and he's like leaning. He's so tired. It looks like he's been in a battle and he's exhausted. So the idea that often happens with passion is we end up thinking that we have to pay for our passion. Like our passion, we have to fight, kind of pour ourselves on the line, exhaust ourselves, fight for it, really, take on the world. And I would say the reversal of the Knight of Wands is you don't have to take on the world. Like, let yourself be supported. Like the world, the universe has brought you here to do the passion. It's not here to fight you on the passion. It's here to help you in the passion. And so you want to orient to the cooperative nature of the universe. Don't orient to the competitive nature of linear thinking, which is where you get the lack of vibes or the resistance. The linear world tends to be resistant to creativity, right? Because the linear world tends to work in a status quo level. Things are sort of predictable. That's how it works, right? So when you're a creator, you disrupt that. Yes, people don't like to be disrupted, okay? They like for the cards to mean a certain thing and for things to go a certain way. Yeah, it's okay. That's what they want to do. But don't engage those people and keep doing your thing while you're engaging those people, because they're already resistant and you're losing energy in engaging that, which is that Nine of Cups, the guy, a Nine of Wands, the guy's like, oh, he's been in battle. Don't do battle. Just orient to people who are excited. They're on fire for this. The Three of Cups, the women are like, yes, go girl. And you want that energy. So associate with that and don't associate with the people where you're just asking. They're already resistant. You're asking for resistance. So that's how I would read those. Those all kind of go together really well, I think. Ace of Cups for the card of the day. Oh, Ace of Cups, open up to more love, unconditional energy, expand your vessel. So you look at the places, and I actually had this was a challenge someone did one time where it's like let yourself be helped, right? Like the next time someone offers you something, let yourself be helped. And like the very next day I was at the grocery store, and we have a grocery store in town that they'll offer to take your groceries to your car for you, which I never let them do because I can do it myself. But I had the challenge in my head. So this teenager was like, can I take your groceries to your car? And I didn't have to, but I was like, yes. And so I was walking and I was so uncomfortable, right? Like there's a lot of discomfort in letting yourself be helped, but it's a discomfort worth stepping into because if you only if you keep yourself at this level, you'll only be able to receive blessing at that level and support. So you want to kind of just gently stretch that. So Ace of Cups is about stretching that, challenging yourself to be less independent, less, independent, I guess, less capable and more willing to be loved. Let's see. Okay. JR says, I feel like that's what my reverse Hierophant is about, worrying about other tarot readers. Yeah. That's why the Hierophant's helpful, because it's basically like we think of the Hierophant often as the Pope energy, which is like a lot of people think of church as like you're now being conformed like to the certain way of being. That's not how I read it, obviously. I wouldn't read it that way. But I think of the Hierophant as the gateway, the keeper of the threshold into the marketplace, helping you be you in the marketplace. We already have, if there's other tarot readers doing things a certain way, they're already here. We don't need more of them. We need you. We don't need you to fit into the tarot booth. We need you to show up as you. So so the Hierophant reverse is like I would say let me offer you another version of reversal. Like internalize your Hierophant. Get it. Get that you're here to bring something very specific, very special. And let go of the comparison and just settle into the mastery, into this is my work to do. I'm going to do it my way. So that's another way of thinking of the reversal. Okay, let's see. Anna says, Anna Klein, the action steps card to pull is so very timely. Yay. And Jazz and Patty. So Acoustic Soul says tarot cards are for ourselves. Sure. Yeah. Sure, they can be. I use them as a tool for spiritual healing and direction. You can use it for anything you want. They're just cards. However you feel inspired to use them, trust that inspiration. Yes. Thank you, JR. All right. Well, I'm going to close for now, and we'll all have a wonderful strawberry full moon tonight. You can see if it's what it looks like from your neck of the woods. And I will see you in a couple weeks for our next new moon. See you then. Bye. There we go.